Welcome back to the Tracy Take. I am Tyler here with my brother Ryan. Today we are breaking down the San Francisco 49ers 3-round mock draft. But before we do that, click that link down below if you'd like to put a couple bucks down on the game that you're watching here. The NBA playoff and NHL playoffs are right around the corner. And BetUS has a fun promotion going on right now for all first-time players. They have a 125% match for your first 3 deposits. So click that link down below and take full advantage of that promotion. While you're at it, be sure to like this video and also subscribe to the channel to get notified whenever we create new content. Trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the NFL draft, and any help is greatly appreciated. Ryan, let's pull this up here to see what the Niners have done so far. These are just some of the notable offseason additions so far. There's been a lot going on. And so they've had some good re-signings, such as trying to focus on the offensive line as well. But then there have been some people that have moved on, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, particularly on the defensive line. So I think that's going to be the area that I think it's going to be a sneaky area where they're going to focus on a lot more. Obviously, you're going to have Nick Bosa, who's going to be one of obviously the best edge rushers in the league next year. But getting the support pieces around him as well, I think it's going to be huge. They did go and sign Blake Collins from Houston, Jordan Elliott as well from Cleveland to provide some of that good depth. But are they going to want to go and get another young edge rusher, so to say, with their 31st overall pick or maybe even later on? So some other good defensive pieces as well, I think that they've added to help replace some. But when it comes to the Niners offseason so far, and you look at some of these additions and departures, what are some of the ones that are going to have the biggest impact in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I like what they did on the defensive side of the football here. Getting Devondre Campbell, I think, is really good, especially after what's his name? Tore his Achilles.
Drake Greenlaw.
Drake Greenlaw, that's right. Especially after Drake Greenlaw tore his Achilles in the Super Bowl. Obviously, that's going to be a 6-month recovery until he's back to full health, and he's got to get into football shape. So he's probably not looking at coming back until the second half of next year at the earliest. Leonard Floyd, Yetur Gross-Matos, I really like both of those picks, or both of those signings as well. And again, just John Feliciano's coming back, Colton McKivitz coming back. While those guys didn't have the greatest of Super Bowls, bringing back those offensive linemen, I think, is going to be solid here. Just going forward, keeping that continuity in front of Brock Purdy, and then hopefully they can improve upon what they did in 2023. So as far as the losses go, the one that really jumps out to me is going to be Javon Kinlaw. I really liked him as a player coming out of South Carolina 4 seasons ago, and I felt like at times he was a really solid interior player for them. As far as like Sam Darnold, Isaiah Oliver, it might be another decent loss there, but I'm not seeing. I guess Clelin Ferrell and Eric Armstead are decent losses as well. So I guess they did lose a good bit on that side, but again, they brought in good guys to kind of replace them there as well. And
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and I'm not concerned at all about the Chase Young loss. I don't think he was very prominent in that.
Well, it's really more. It's just another piece as well. I think it's kind of a good segue into our first pick here. And we actually have him going with Laiatu Latu, edge rusher. And so he ended up falling in this mock draft. So getting him here at 31 overall, I think is a steal just value-wise. But I also think, too, kind of what we were just talking about with all the pieces that they lost on the defensive line. And Jersey Newton was just off the board there at Detroit at 29. Byron Murphy went number 19 to Los Angeles Chargers. There are a couple other tackles technically, if they'd want to. But I feel like they're not first-round graded tackles. I feel like if Laiatu Latu's here. But I think you go put him across from Nick Bosa, and you start to get some of that dominance back overall on that defensive line of some of the pieces that they lost. I'm not saying Malik Collins or Jordan Elliott won't provide some good assistance overall, but I think Laiatu Latu, he might be the most polished edge rusher, I think, in this class, but because of his injury history, he is maybe a little bit older than some of the other guys. He is going to fall just a little bit. And I think he's the most NFL day one ready as of right now edge rusher, but might not have the highest upside. Compared to like a Dallas Turner or Jared Verse.
That's actually exactly what I was going to say about him. It's just, he's a professional right now. He could get better, yes, but he is a professional right now. You can come in, you can plug him in as a defensive end edge rusher in your system right now, and he has the pass rush moves. He has the physical skills and strength that you need. He's not the explosive athlete that Chop Robinson or even like Nick Bosa is, but he's not a slouch either. He's not this Khalil Mack like earth mover of a human, but like again, he's not some like this stick coming out. And so like I really like this pick. Day one, he's probably going to be a starter for them, if not very heavily utilized in a rotation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I like this pick a lot here. I think a lot of different ways they could go. If they want to go receiver, I think that also could be an option. That's one of the things I think that they haven't done so far this offseason is try and get another skill position player, especially too with all the rumors of Brandon Ayuk going out as well. And so I think then that transitions to their second round pick. And so one of the other areas that they have improved on as well. And so maybe they'd want to switch this up a little bit, or their next pick as well. I just remember what their third round pick is, but have them going with Karen Omega-DJ.
Kyron Omega-DJ is what I've heard.
Did I say Karen? Man, I didn't even mean to do that. So, anyways, sorry, sir. But have them going here with the offensive line here. He's a guy that I said a good career. I think he's good value here overall in the end of the second round. Why do you like Kyron so much, Ryan?
Yeah, so from Yale, played at a lower competition, but I think when you look and watch some of his tape at Yale, not that there's a whole lot of it out there, but he does what you want him to do to that level of lower competition. I mean, he looks like, there was that one kid in like elementary school that was just like so much bigger than all the other kids. Like he looks like that, but at a college football level. And then he also is bigger, faster, stronger than all of them and just tosses them out of the way. He has actually some really good technique. And I would have loved to seen him maybe get an invite to the Senior Bowl and participate in like one of those types of games. However, that wasn't able to happen. So he is a little bit of a riskier prospect, but I think physical traits wise, he's 6'5", 325. He moves really, really well on tape and he's a good athlete. And so I think that's why you're basically betting on the traits here. And for San Francisco, with how that offensive line performed throughout the year, going and getting a guy who has the athleticism that you want, that you just have to coach up, I think is going to be really important.
Yeah. And so I like him a lot here. I will say one thing too, especially in looking at our next pick as well, is because I almost like the next pick a little bit more. Zach Zinter here. So I can't remember why we doubled up on
because they need it.
Offensive line. They do need it. But I think there's other good value you go get in the day 3 pick. So I almost would prefer them to go and get a receiver there at their second round pick. Like Jermaine Burton was sitting right there. If Jalen Polk fell one more pick, I think that would have been a great selection right there. Not that nothing against Kyron at all, but I think Zach Zinter and his overall upside, the only reason why he's down here is because he did have a bad leg injury in November. So I think you get him here and you can still slowly develop him overall. But I think he'll be ready by or close to the start of the regular season. I think he's got a higher upside overall.
The 49ers drafted Andrew Voorhees last year, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like
that's great. Baltimore. Did we draft? I'll look it up. Continue.
But I feel like that's a very similar case to Andrew Voorhees last year. And so, it was Baltimore.
It was Baltimore. I think in our mock draft we had
Andrew Voorhees.
I
think it's a very similar case to Andrew Voorhees, where like a projected early day 2 lineman that just had a bad injury, so he falls to late day 2. And I think getting a guy like that, I will say Zach Zinter probably has a chance of actually playing this year, unlike Voorhees, who did it at the combine. Yeah. So like he had no chance to play.
Voorhees fell pretty far. I'm pretty sure he was a day 3 pick. But in general, though, I think kind of what the point of this is like you can go and get a guy like Zach Zinter here, I think, later on in day 3.
Yeah.
In round 3. And then with how many receivers there are, skill position players who are, I think you can go and get a guy like Jermaine Burton or potentially with Jalen Polk if you saw on the board, or Jalen McMillan even or something like that. So in general, though, the Niners, like they were so close. Like the team is still probably the best team in the NFC, I would say. It's getting closer. There's a lot of teams that are improving overall, but it's going to be interesting to see how they go and navigate this 2024 NFL draft and how they prioritize their main needs.
Yeah, no, and for sure. That to me, I think, is it prioritizing this offensive line. If Brandon Ayuk does decide to move on, going and getting a guy that can come in and replace him. And and be that true outside guy, I think it would take priority if he is not there with the team in 2024. So all in all, with these picks, I felt like we did a good job of taking best player available. Latu at 31 is great value. Kyron Amegdije is, I think, also good value, especially just with his physical traits. And maybe they go wide receiver there instead. But again, it'll just kind of be like best player available, I think, for them. So
yeah.
Let's go ahead and wrap this one up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what you thought of this San Francisco 49ers 3-round mock draft. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you have done differently? And that we'll see you guys next time.